All right, whenever you're ready.
So I'm going to begin by briefly summarizing my opponent's argument. My opponent's claim was that there are two possible futures in the world. One is that all human jobs will be replaced by AI, or artificial intelligence. And the second future was that AI will potentially destroy the world. Only two possible outcomes. The support they provided for this claim is that robots are beginning to learn how to survive on their own due to the fact that they can learn without continuing human input, and that they're connected via Wi-Fi and other wireless means. Some examples he gave were Siri, Google self-driving cars, and thermostats in our homes. So before I start, I'm going to define artificial intelligence. And it is defined as the capability of a machine to imitate intelligent human behavior. And that definition is important because I am going to claim that the examples he gave are not artificial intelligence. So Paul Ford writes in MIT Technology Review, in fact, we still have nothing approaching a general purpose artificial intelligence or even a clear path to how it could be achieved. So right now, we don't have AI. And if we go back to the definition, it's a machine that imitates intelligent human behavior, which has meaning to it and which understands situations. If you look at our machines today and our programs, they're responding to a stimuli, but they are not, the machines themselves are not understanding situations. They are not responding to situations. They are merely doing what the program's telling them to do and giving the essence of understanding, but are not to their core understanding. Douglas Hofstadter, a cognitive scientist at Indiana University and a Pulitzer Prize winning author, states that Google and IBM are thinking of how we can get these computers to sidestep or bypass the whole process of meaning and still get impressive behavior. No one's debating that Siri, Google self-driving cars, they're impressive machines, they do impressive things, but they respond to things, but they don't understand what they're doing. They're not thinking machines. An example I came up with is, say a small child steps out in front of a self-driving car. And the car can decide to either hit the child or stray off the road and kill the driver. Let's say for this circumstance, these are the only two possible outcomes, and the car knows this. The car goes through no ethical dilemma. The car doesn't experience the situation. It has sensors that tell it what's happening, and it responds to what's happening. We know what the car is going to do before the car is put in that situation, which makes it not an AI. It's not human intelligence. It's simply programming that's telling it what to do. So my claim today is that the futures my opponent proposed are not viable because true AI is an impossible concept. This is because programming cannot account for the human mind, and the human mind is fluid, and it relies on no one set of rules or programming like machines do. Michael Egnor writes in evolutionnews.org that computers cannot in themselves love, hate, reason, deduce, or consider. Computers can represent these qualities, but these representations in computers are things put into computers by programmers or users and cannot derive wholly from the computer itself. So, and I believe that this type of programming is necessary to achieve the future that these futures that my opponent proposed. So, because AI is not possible, and the type that is possible is not creatable, I believe that the futures are not viable. That's all. Thank you.
All right, well, the proposition is identified and the secondary claims are labeled, but you basically argue with the premise of the argument and suggest that AI is not possible. I mean, ultimately, that's what your argument comes down to. And you've got a long explanation about why the examples that the advocate cites are not really AI, and therefore we can't reach this conclusion. And then you've got some good arguments that suggest AI can't work the way it would have to in order to produce particular outcomes. I do think you could have a little bit more application of some of these outcomes to the two issues that the advocate talked about, the jobs and the destruction of the world. But like I said, if this is a chain of arguments and you're attacking the first link in the chain, suggesting that AI can't really exist in the way that has been envisioned by the advocate, I think that you've developed a good counter argument on this point. I do think that there is plenty of room for the advocate themselves to respond by suggesting that those scenarios don't necessarily require the kind of AI that you're describing, but rather the kinds of intelligence or machine operation that we are currently within, our grasp. And even if we have a misunderstanding of what the technical definition of AI is, that the premise of his argument might be continuing to be valid. But that's, of course, a hypothetical. We're not going to find out what they had to say because we don't have a response to the response. So we'll just see how it goes. All right, thank you.